Hello. If you're like me, you're spending a lot of time these days looking for books about the Black experience in America. I'm Liz Vaccarello, Editor-in-Chief of Real Simple, and allow me to recommend another book to add to your reading list, The Immortal Life of Henrietta Lacks. Published 10 years ago, the journalist Rebecca Skloot spent 10 painstaking years before that researching this true story about the most important woman in medical research and the descendants whose lives would be changed forever by the publication of this book. Henrietta Lacks was a 30-year-old poor Black tobacco farmer and mother of 5. In 1951, she went to Johns Hopkins Medical Center complaining about a knot in her pelvis. There, doctors who treated her advanced cervical cancer took a specimen of her cancer cells without her knowledge and put them in a petri dish. Scientists had been trying for decades to keep human cells alive in a culture, but they always died. Henrietta's cells were different. Not only did they produce an entire new generation every 24 hours, but they never stopped. Henrietta's cell line became the most important, prolific, and widely used line of cells in the history of biology. The Immortal Life of Henrietta Lacks is a riveting detective story and an emotional family drama. It's about crippling poverty, medical racism, and the search for redemption. Believe me, you will never forget it. Oh, how I loved the Book of Longings by Sue Monk Kidd. You might remember her as the author of The Secret Life of Bees, The Mermaid Chair, a number of wonderful novels. I think this is Sue Monk Kidd at her best. It's a novel about the fictional wife of Jesus, and if you disregard the debate of whether or not they were married or unmarried historically, and lean into this idea, this fantasy of a willful young woman who is smart and spiritual, but silenced by the culture of the times, you will be transported by this wonderful story, these wonderful character studies that she has drawn. Anna meets 18-year-old Jesus and is married to him until the rest of his life. And it's a wonderful story about how they're drawn to each other's spiritual point of view, each other's intellect. And I loved Anna. I loved seeing this human side of a fictional Jesus. And I loved reading about the way that these two people would love each other and the way Jesus loved Anna, as well as the fact that he loved humanity. So it is a great read, and I think it will go down as one of her best. I know you'll enjoy it.
Hi, I'm Brandy Broxson, Senior Editor, and my Real Simple Summer read is The Vacationers by Emma Straub. So if you are looking for a book this summer that's going to transport you to a faraway place, something I'm sure we're all looking for, this is the book for you. It takes place on the small Spanish island of Majorca, which is just as dreamy as it sounds, and it follows a group of family and friends who go there for a 2-week vacation. But like some family gatherings, things start to go awry. There's some secrets that are revealed and lots of really great twists and turns. But I think that the number one reason why I so often recommend this book is because it's so beautifully written. There's some really delicious and descriptive imagery that makes you feel like you are right there, eating tapas, in the pool, riding your bike to the market, and enjoying the summer. It'll also make you feel a little bit better about your own family dramas.
Hi guys, I'm Liz Vaccarello. I'm the Editor-in-Chief of Real Simple. And for today's book chat, I thought I'd talk about 2 books that I read from the March issue of Real Simple. They were both mentioned in the short list column, where we pick 5 books that we think will delight you in different ways. This month, I picked The Glass Hotel by Emily St. John Mandel and House Lessons by Erica Bauermeister. So I could not wait to get my hands on Emily St. John Mandel's The Glass Hotel. I was such a fan of her last novel, Station 11, which was that post-apocalyptic story of a band of troubadours, essentially. Well, this novel is really a reflection of the 2008 Ponzi scheme, and really takes the characters involved in the rise and fall of that Ponzi scheme and tells the story from different perspectives through gripping narratives, beautiful writing, and I really couldn't put it down. I thought it would stick with me probably for years, the same way Station 11 did. So Glass Hotel is worth the read. The second book, House Lessons, was such a delightful sort of revelation to me. Erica Bauermeister takes us through the journey of her search for and then renovation of a dilapidated old house in a small town called Port Townsend, Washington, right there on the water. And it's written in sort of a memoir in essay format. Each chapter is a vignette, a tightly controlled and wrapped up story and narrative. And I picked it up because I thought it would be an interesting meditation on home and design and all of that. And it does weave a lot of interesting information about design and about home into the memoir. But I was most taken by the way she really gets at the way a space, a house, a room, an object can connect with an individual and with a family, and the role that those things can play in our lives. So I found it a great read on a number of levels. House Lessons. Enjoy it. Hi guys, I'm Liz Vaccarello. I'm the editor-in-chief of Real Simple, and welcome to a tour of my home office bookshelf. So the home office bookshelf contains the titles that I never want to give away, I never want to forget, I never want to put in my free little library. These are the books that mean something special to me, and that I think I'm going to come back to again and again over the course of my life. Here's a recent one, the Lori Gottlieb, Maybe You Should Talk to Somebody. Never in a million years would I have told you that a memoir about a therapist would have moved me so much. It's a little bit about what it's like to be a therapist and a little bit about what it's like to be in therapy. Couldn't put it down, learned a lot about someone's inner life, frankly, from this book. This is a nice sort of range of books that have meant something to me over the years. Yes, I'm a big Elizabeth Gilbert fan. I did like Eat, Pray, Love. Love was the section I liked the least, probably. But then many people on social media told me, if you like Elizabeth Gilbert, her best book is The Signature of All Things, which is one that I had skipped over in my travels. And so I went back and I just read it last year, and it is a wonderful novelization about a botanist, which I never thought I would be interested in. Really, really well done. I'm a big Kelly Corrigan fan, so of course I have The Middle Place, and then I bought her book of essays, Tell Me More. And each one I have found that I come back to, and it means something different to me every time I read one of her pieces in Tell Me More. This is probably the book that I've recommended to more people than any other. It's Susan Cain's treatise, manifesto, if you will, on being an introvert. I am an introvert, and I didn't know what that meant until I read this book. So I've given this and recommended this to more people than I can count, and it really makes you understand why you are the way you are and why you have the energy that you indeed have. So Quiet by Susan Cain is definitely a must read. A good dear friend of mine who loves to meditate and knows how to meditate gave me this book for Christmas probably 18 years ago. And she said, if you don't understand how to meditate or you don't get it, this is the one book that'll make you get it. So The Way to Love has been sitting on my bookshelf for probably almost 2 decades now. I still don't meditate, but when I feel inspired to try, that's the book I pull out. Here's a couple of books down here that I'll point out. One is Trevor Noah's Born a Crime. Wonderful memoir. It's funny, as you would expect it to be, but also heartwarming, and it takes you to his life growing up in South Africa in a way that you understand the privilege with which white Americans get to go through life. So I found this fascinating. And then also along those same lines is a nonfiction book, The Short and Tragic Life of Robert Peace. This was a Yale-educated student who lived just down the street from me in Newark, and it was the extraordinary story about how he got himself, his mother and he got himself through sheer willpower and hard work and focus out of his, frankly, drug-infested neighborhood, got him to Yale, and then what happened through the rest of his very short life, the extraordinary circumstances that led to what was eventually his death. So this was fascinating, and it was even more fascinating that I could probably walk to Robert Peace's former house from my house. That's how close I lived to where this story happened. And now let me show you the two books that I keep here because they mean something to me and my children. These are the two books that I probably read the most to them over the years. The Giraffes Can't Dance, wonderful cadence, wonderful story, and of course, African Animals. So that always makes me smile. And then, of course, Silverstein's The Giving Tree, which I have to say breaks my heart every single time. So there's more to talk about, but that's it for today.